Hello, my name is Trey Flournoy, and I'm an attorney with the Bush Law Group. Next, I want to talk about tear-out and replacement coverage in the context of a cast iron sewer pipe failure. What I mean by tear-out and replacement coverage is the cost associated with tearing out any part of the building necessary to get to the failed pipe or appliance or whatever it may be, and then the cost associated with putting the building back to what it was after you've fixed whatever the issue is, whether it's a pipe or appliance or something else. That's what I mean by tear-out and replacement coverage. Next, I want to look at a tear-out and replacement provision, and this is in a security first policy, and this will give us an idea of what the language actually says, which is important because we need to know what the policy says. You're going to find this provision under Section 1, Perils Insured Against, and you'll see the insuring provision that says we assure against risk of direct loss to property described in coverages A and B only if that loss is a physical loss to property. And then it'll go on to start listing some exclusions. It'll say we do not insure for loss, and then you'll come down to the relevant part and it'll say any of the following: wear and tear, marring, or deterioration. Okay, so the policy right here is saying we don't provide any coverage for damages caused by wear and tear, marring, or deterioration. Now the next important part is when you continue down the policy, you usually will find a paragraph that says, however, if any of these cause water damage not otherwise excluded from a plumbing, heating, air conditioning, or automatic fire protective sprinkler system or household appliance, we cover loss caused by the water, including the cost of tearing out and replacing any part of the building necessary to repair the system or appliance. We do not cover loss to the system or appliance from which the water escaped. So what that means is they don't pay for the pipe. You're not going to get coverage for the cast iron pipe, but what you do have in this provision is coverage for the water damage caused by the overflow and the costs associated with tearing out and replacing the part of the building that you need to tear out to get to the failed pipe. The policy will then go on to say, however, under items 1 and 2, any ensuing loss to property described in coverages A and B not excluded or otherwise accepted in this policy is covered. So you need to keep in mind that this provision, and this is very important, this provision, and I call this a triggering event, requires water damage. Indeed, the very first sentence of the paragraph says, if any of these cause water damage, not otherwise excluded. Without the water damage, you're not going to have that triggering event, as I call it, that's going to open up coverage for tearing out and replacing that part of the building to get to the failed pipe. So you have to have the water damage. It's in every policy. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's one policy I've read, and all the policies I've looked at, that did not require that. But you can pretty much bet that you're going to have that water damage as a triggering event. The other thing you need to keep in mind is that most policies exclude water damage. So what do you do when you have a conflict between one policy saying, one sentence saying we provide coverage for the water damage unless it's excluded somewhere else in the policy, and then you have a water damage exclusion? You're going to have to look at that water damage exclusion. Now, coverage may be obvious if you have a limited water damage endorsement that expressly says we will pay for this amount of water damage under this circumstance. But what if you don't have a limited water damage endorsement on your policy? Is the water damage excluded by the water damage exclusion? We'll talk about that next in my next segment.